everybody. Scott Golden here with the Golden Opportunities Coaching YouTube channel. Welcome to those of you who are new. Welcome back to those of you seasoned veterans of what we do around here. What we do around here is bring about conversations of a psychological, mental health, and emotional paradigm, coaching paradigm. We do that as often as we can, usually several times per week. We bring about conversations that will kind of bring that forward. Signs of loneliness is what we're talking about in today's particular audio, and loneliness can be one of those things that is pretty persistent for lots of people, especially the last couple of years with the pandemic has added a whole different layer to loneliness and can be extremely difficult. So what are some signs of loneliness? That's what we're going to kind of talk about today. Also, if you're dealing with loneliness and or trying to get yourself back out there in the spring and summer of 2022 and beyond, would love to be of assistance to you in that way, if that's at all possible, so we can kind of connect in a good way there. The first thing is kind of looking at things such as numbness. So people that are constantly lonely are almost numb to the idea that they can redirect or reconnect their social affect. So thus, what happens is, while the desire to connect with other people does present itself, it's almost muted or turned down, and it's because they don't necessarily feel like any desire they have is ever fully going to be realized or recognized in that way, and thus, it's easier to turn it down. It's simpler to turn it down, and thus there's challenges as it relates to identifying the nature of balancing things out or being in a rough space there, and knowing how to do that and or knowing how to be in a good space that way can be very overwhelming for a experience of time that can be longer than we want. The next thing there is kind of looking at it from the perspective of dealing with emotions, emotional fluctuation. People who are lonely will feel like they get a breakthrough and then it'll be cut off from them, or they'll feel like they've lost it. So the emotional roller coaster sign is another sign that people are constantly lonely because they kind of feel like they've got a breakthrough. They feel like they've made a new friend. They feel like they've connected with people on a different level, and then even one slight, or a person running late, or a person changing plans, or a person doing something that is unexpected can lead them to go down the rabbit hole of negativity in a way that's abnormal or extreme in comparison to what the other person intends. Now, most times people that aren't dealing with someone that has chronic illness on a regular basis won't see the signs of how they're negatively affecting the other person, and it's not necessarily what's there, and the misinterpretation of meaning behind that can be super challenging for people to articulate. And so then what happens is that people begin to kind of get frustrated and or angry at the idea of, hey, you don't understand me, or you don't really care, or whatever have you. And so that becomes problematic in and of itself. The next thing is the meaning that people give to things. So meaning is one of the most important things that a person can understand how to use properly, and or can kill off any progress that a person is making. If a person believes that the other individual doesn't have any continuation of care or consideration, then there becomes a lot of challenges as it relates to the identity of, how do I fix this relationship? How do I fix a friendship? If a person is constantly assuming a person doesn't mean them well even when they do, that can become problematic for a number of reasons, and ultimately the misunderstanding of meaning can then cause a person to be shut down, shut off, and or cutting themselves off from the social interactive that they desire, want, and need. And so that becomes problematic for a whole different level of reasons. And many times people don't necessarily understand they're doing that to themselves until it's either A, close to too late, or B, in a way that's not necessarily leading them where they want to go anyway. And so it's important to articulate the needs that one has in a clear, concise, and directed manner as often as possible. So hopefully this is helpful. I encourage you to keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. Until next time, everybody.